Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Okay, folks, Bitcoin continues to show strength. At the time of recording, it's over $81,000. So exactly $81,240. So we're still in that rising channel. We expect Bitcoin to top maybe about 84, 85K if it does get that high. There are no guarantees here, just probabilities. But Bitcoin, there is a CME gap, if I'm not mistaken, between 82,000 and 84,000. So let's see how high we go. Bitcoin could potentially overshoot, go to 87, possibly 90. Some analysts are saying it could get that high, but again, no guarantees. One thing we do have to watch out for is Bitcoin is approaching the overbought zone. So the RSI is approaching 70. So if you know your signals and metrics, you know that 70 is where we're overbought and 30 is where we're oversold. Now, it can overshoot those numbers, so it can go to 80, right? And then pull back. So we're going to have to wait and see. However, if Bitcoin is going to cool off very soon, which it looks like it will, I think we're going to see some altcoins start to run. So the alts will have a relief rally. Now, does that mean every single altcoin in the market's going to pump? Of course not, right? I do believe your major altcoins, your large caps, mid caps, and so forth are going to start to move. So Ethereum, Solana, XRP, I think pretty much the coins in the top 15 to 20 will start to move. And then you could see, certain privacy coins. I think that's still a strong narrative will start to move as well. So if you look at the total 3 chart, that is looking bullish. The RSI still shows there's room to run here, and the MACD has flipped bullish, similar to Bitcoin. And we're seeing some upward movement here. So let's see how high we go, guys, because it would be really nice to have these alts catch up to Bitcoin, so to speak. And we see a mini relief rally for these altcoins. Obviously, we hope that they outperform Bitcoin, which, historically we have seen them do that. Not all of them, but, maybe ETH, Solana, XRP, they all outperform Bitcoin. But again, we shall see. But be prepared. I think that we're going to see some of these alts pop off. Again, not guaranteed, but this is a high probability in my opinion. And that will be really good for many of us who hold altcoins. Obviously, I hold Bitcoin as well, but I want to see my altcoin portfolio start to move as well. That will be really, really nice. Now, guys, we got some crazy news coming out from Michael Saylor. Many of you know he is, of course, the founder and the CEO of MicroStrategy. I believe he did step down from the CEO role, but nevertheless, the majority of the company's lifespan, he has been the CEO. And he has religiously, and I use the word religiously on purpose because he has said, we're never going to sell Bitcoin. You're an idiot if you sell. And he's put out tons of propaganda. You look at his Twitter feed, his X feed, never sell your Bitcoin. He would say, sell your kidney to buy Bitcoin, mortgage your house, just buy Bitcoin, right? All crazy stuff, which I've criticized him and his followers about over the years. All of a sudden, they're saying they may have to sell. And this is not a good sign. And they may have to sell to fund their dividends obligations. In fact, it was reported that Strategy had a $12.54 billion Q1 loss. Guys, $12 billion loss. That is wild. So this is getting really scary here for Michael Saylor. It seems there are some cracks in the system. Now, I've been on record. I don't want to see Strategy fail. But the things that are happening, the amount of leverage, how many times have I talked about that, guys? And I had people criticize me as well, where I said, this is not good. The amount of leverage this guy is using is insane. It's another 2008 type scenario, leverage upon leverage, right? It's one thing to buy Bitcoin, take some of the cash on your balance sheet and buy Bitcoin. It's another to go raise obscene amounts of debt to buy Bitcoin. And you put yourself in this situation where the market is down, we're in a bear market, and I'm sure they're feeling the pressure. And then you launch, yield and dividends, and all of a sudden you got to sell Bitcoin. I don't know. Something's wrong here. My spidey sense is tingling because this man has gone on TV and much more say, oh, we're fine. We can see an 80%, 90% drop in Bitcoin and we will be fine. All of a sudden, yeah, we're going to have to sell some Bitcoin. So Watch out, guys. This is no longer a Bitcoin treasury company, in my opinion. You look at a great example would be like Tesla and SpaceX. Elon took some of the cash on the reserves of those companies and bought some Bitcoin, and that's it, right? The company's still generating revenue from other things, car sales, yada, yada, and they're not putting all their cash. They still have their operating cash. That's the smart way to do it. What Saylor is doing is a very risky thing with all that debt, and this is not looking good. So hopefully we don't have a collapse. Again, I'm not hoping for that. I don't want that to happen because I believe that would be really bad for Bitcoin. Not that it's going to kill Bitcoin, but the narratives, the news headlines. Can you imagine, guys? Right? It's going to be really rough. But it could be, let's say he's in some sort of trouble. He could go to BlackRock. He can go to these big institutions which want to hold as much Bitcoin, right, in their ETFs and much more, and maybe they bail him out or they take it over, right? I don't think he would get to a point where the whole thing collapses. I think the big institutions which are here and countries even that are looking to establish reserves, or maybe the U.S. government steps in and they're like, okay, Saylor, it looks like you are done here. We're going to take over your Bitcoin stash because we can't allow this type of collapse, right? That's a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's a possibility. So let's see what happens. This is certainly not good. And again, this man has been out there tweeting out all types of ridiculous stuff, going on TV saying all types of ridiculous stuff, criticizing people, calling them names about if they even think about selling Bitcoin. You never sell your Bitcoin, and all of a sudden he has to do it. So these are signs of a bear market, folks, if you didn't think we are in one. And look, it could be we're coming out now, with this rally, but, potentially there is some downside that could happen, but no one knows the exact future. We don't have a crystal ball. So we're going to have to be cautiously optimistic and vigilant here to see what may happen as we head later into the year. Will Bitcoin have a major correction, go down, and that forces Saylor to start selling like crazy? We shall see. Now, folks, quick word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by BitGo, the trusted infrastructure behind the digital asset economy. If you're serious about crypto, whether you're an investor, institution, or building in this space, you already know security, compliance, and execution are everything. And that's exactly what BitGo delivers. With over a decade of experience and 5,500 plus institutional clients across 100 plus countries, BitGo provides a full suite of services, including qualified custody, trading, staking, financing, and stablecoin infrastructure, all in one platform. Let's break it down. Want to launch crypto services fast? BitGo's crypto as a service lets banks, fintechs, and platforms go live in as little as a couple of months without dealing with complex licensing or infrastructure. If you're looking to launch a stablecoin, BitGo offers a complete stablecoin as a service platform, from reserves and smart contracts to compliance, built to align with the new U.S. regulatory framework that is the Genius Act. Want to earn rewards on your crypto? BitGo runs one of the largest institutional staking platforms with tens of billions staked across 50 plus networks, all while your assets stay securely in qualified custody. Need deep liquidity and execution? Their trading platform aggregates liquidity across 30 plus venues, giving you better pricing and the ability to trade directly from custody. No pre-funding required for approved clients. And if you need capital, BitGo offers crypto-backed financing, so you can unlock liquidity without selling your assets. So here's the bottom line. BitGo is one of the first federally chartered digital asset infrastructure companies offering regulated, insured custody and a platform built for institutions, but accessible to forward-thinking players across the space. So whether you're scaling a fintech, managing a fund, or building the future of finance, BitGo gives you all the tools that you need to do this securely, compliantly, and at scale. So learn more at bitgo.com and see why the biggest players in crypto trust BitGo.
Okay, moving ahead, the CME Group is going to launch Bitcoin volatility futures contracts on June 1st. So we continue to see these TradFi institutions launch all types of financial products around Bitcoin and altcoins. Usually it starts with Bitcoin and then they move to altcoins. So This is great. I think more financial products, more on and off ramps is going to be good to allow more capital to come in, especially as we get the Clarity Act passed, and that opens up more capital to come in. And speaking of the Clarity Act, Senator Bernie Moreno says they're going to mark up the Bitcoin and crypto market structure legislation next week. So, folks, yesterday we talked about the banks trying to backtrack and pull a fast one on the stablecoin compromise, but the senators who worked on that compromise said, "No, we agree to disagree. This thing's moving forward." So, markup is important. That's the first step in getting it going, and then eventually to a vote on the Senate floor, and then to President Trump's desk. Here's a quote from Senator Bernie Moreno. He said, "We'll get it on the president's desk before the end of June, and he'll sign it into law before July 4th. That would be huge. So let's see, guys. Hopefully, we definitely hit these deadlines. Even if it's a week or two off, that's fine, as long as we're moving in the right direction. But this is really great to hear that the markup's going to happen. And the prediction market odds have increased. So Polymarket is showing a 70% chance the Clarity Act is signed into law this year. So very, very good stuff here. Now, moving ahead, Kraken Exchange partners with MoneyGram to enable crypto cash withdrawals in 100 plus countries. Wow. Talk about a major, major on and off ramp here. This is huge. I think this is a major strategic move by Kraken, given the amount of people that use MoneyGram to move money across the globe. And, if you want to send folks crypto, it will be an easy way for them to transition into cash or, their respective fiat currency. So there's going to be like the full on interoperability between digital assets, crypto into fiat currency. So this is another major on and off ramp. And, we've been talking a lot about Kraken looking to do their IPO. They had to postpone some of it due to the bear market, but, this is on deck, ready for better market conditions. And there's some other companies like Securitize and as well who are looking to go public. So we're going to see a lot of building, guys. And I think Kraken may be waiting for the Clarity Act to pass and then go do an IPO. That's how I would do it, right? To get as much attention and liquidity and bullish momentum and fervor around the market to go public. So it wouldn't surprise me that these guys are waiting. Oh, it's gonna be signed into law come right before July 4th. Boom, let's go do an IPO that same week or the week after, right? That would be amazing. So big news here. Look at this. Forward Industries, Rockaway X back Onre, so ONRE, to build on-chain reinsurance on Solana. Guys, we've been seeing a lot of Solana adoption news, and it's why I hold it in my portfolio. Again, I'm not emotional about these things. I'm just looking at what's getting adoption, and I'm putting those coins in my portfolio. Not financial advice, of course. I'm just highlighting how I'm approaching it. And you obviously want to look for the utility, which blockchains are getting the adoption. So Forward Industries and crypto investment company Rockaway X have co-led a strategic investment in Onre, a startup building reassurance infrastructure on the Solana blockchain, in a move aimed to bring traditional risk transfer markets onto decentralized rails. The company said Tuesday they co-led Onre's $5 million Series A round, with Forward planning to allocate up to $25 million into the platform's yield-bearing token on Solana. The fund will be used to expand Onre's platform and attract more institutional participants to on-chain reinsurance, a niche but emerging segment within decentralized finance. Guys, the building continues. Again, look at which blockchains are getting the adoption and, look to dollar cost average into those as much as you can and have the long-term outlook. Now, look at this news. Tennessee Bankers Association names Stablecore as preferred digital asset provider. Very interesting here. So the Tennessee Bankers Association, a trade group representing the state's commercial banks, has selected Stablecore as a preferred technology provider for digital asset services, highlighting growing interest among regional lenders in crypto infrastructure. Wow. So we know the banks are going all in, and the whole game they've been playing with stablecoin yield and the Clarity Act, they're just trying to slow it all down so they can catch up. Make no mistake about it, they are all in. to do tokenized deposits, stable coins, custody, crypto products, and much, much more, right? But of course, crypto native firms had a head start, and now these banks are trying to catch up. So in a Tuesday announcement, the TBA said Stablecore will provide infrastructure that enables community and regional banks to offer products such as stablecoins, tokenized deposits, and digital asset-backed lending through their existing systems. The endorsement gives Stablecore exposure to the association's roughly 175 member institutions, potentially accelerating adoption among smaller banks that lack in-house digital asset capabilities. So see what's happening, right? Bringing all these regional small banks, not to mention the big 800-pound gorilla banks, right? The JP Morgan, Citi, and so forth, but the small ones, the credit unions and so forth, they're going to bring them all into the fold to use blockchain and offer crypto and digital assets. So the partnership reflects a broader trend among traditional financial institutions of seeking third-party providers to integrate crypto-related services rather than building the infrastructure internally. This is what they have to do because it will take years to build that, right? And these crypto native firms have gone through and ironed out the process, and they've built, like Coinbase has built a crypto as a service solution where you can just go plug and play, right? Out of the box, so to speak. So again, the banks, whether big or small, all getting involved. Now, final news item. Representative Stephen Horsford pitches Parity Act as durable floor for crypto tax at Consensus Miami. Now, the Parity Act, for those of you who don't know, focuses on taxes. So after the Clarity Act is done, this is the big one, because if you don't provide guidance on how much I can spend with my crypto, how can I use it, how can institutions use it, accept payments, conduct payments, you're going to have problems with adoption, right? So the tax code needs to be updated. And many of you know, I recently interviewed one of the folks from the Solana Policy Institute, where we talked a lot about this. It was with Patrick Wilson, I believe. So be sure you check that out. It was just published a couple of weeks ago. So Representative Stephen Horsford, co-author of the Bipartisan Parity Act, told the audience at CoinDesk's Consensus Miami conference Tuesday that crypto tax policy needs to advance through narrow, durable reform rather than a single comprehensive overhaul. He admitted Senate negotiations on the Clarity Act between Senators Tom Tillis and Angela Alsobrooks seemed to be on hold, slowing their broader bipartisan market structure framework. Horsford framed crypto and digital asset policy as a tool for closing the wealth gap, saying no one party should own crypto. He's absolutely right. But again, Clarity Act needs to be done first, and then the Parity Act is, I think, the next high priority. They absolutely need to get done. And again, check out my interview with Patrick Wilson of the Solana Policy Institute, and we talked a lot about this and in detail what the IRS needs to do and much more. Okay, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think, especially about the Michael Saylor news. I think that's a huge pivot there. This man's looking to sell Bitcoin. Could there be some cracks in the system? And hopefully nothing bad happens, but it's not a good look. And folks, be sure to support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Link will be in the description. And check out my book on Amazon. Be sure to grab a copy. It's available in paperback and digital. And if you want to expand your knowledge about blockchain tech and crypto technology, check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. Folks, right now we have a 50% sale going on. If you use the code BEAR, BEAR at checkout, you get 50% off the price. So knowledge is power, guys. Check out this course. It's packed with tons of insight. It's comprehensive, features expert commentary. No other course offers that. So again, go to mycryptocourse.com. All of the links will be in the description. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.